Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back. Today I wanted to take a look at a concerning trend that we are seeing that will come to Master Duel. So even though we are not on the King of the King, which is an OCG website, this concerns Master Duel, as we will get all this stuff in a few months here. You might not be aware of this, but we will take a look at it and I will show you what I mean here. We can see there's an OCG meta report number 8 from this year, which if you are not familiar with this, the OCG meta report basically shows you the best decks in the OCG on the basis of, in this case, 29 tournaments with 178 decks that participated in these tournaments. So one thing to note here is that these OCG meta reports always do not base on a lot of tournaments. So there could be more, but I guess this is a nice opportunity to look into the format. And as we can see, Fire King is pretty much dominant here. And then there is Tenpai Dragon and Snake Eye. And especially these three decks is what I want to talk about today, especially Tenpai Dragon. We'll go over this. If you don't know what this is, this will come to us in the future in Master Duel, but I will explain to you why this is the most concerning deck, to be honest. But I firstly want to show you a little trend here that you might already be aware of if you're playing the TCG, but we can also see it in the OCG here, even though I think in the OCG it's less prominent than in the TCG, but you could argue about that. So we have the Fire King deck here, and the first thing I want to bring your awareness to is the amount, and that's basically what we are talking about today, is the amount of engine versus non-engine in this deck, right? So engine meaning cards that you need for the core strategy to work, and non-engine being cards that you basically use to support your playstyle or interrupt your opponent's playstyle, you could say. So let's count the non-engine here. We have Triple Ash, we have 3 Maxi, we have 3 Veiler, which are already 9. Then we have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 non-engine, which is a lot of non-engine. You could say that around about 9 to 12 or sometimes 15. 15 at the higher end is the normal amount of non-engine that a deck can play. This obviously depends on the deck. Decks like Branded Espe, for example, cannot really play a big amount of non-engine, but these decks can. And if you have played the TCG in the last, or in this format basically, then you might be aware of the fact that games sometimes feel like a hand trap war, in the sense of who has more hand traps, who can stop the opponent more effectively? Are you the player who has 2 hand traps that can stop me, or am I the player who has like 1 to 2 hand traps and can stop you? We already know this stuff from the Maxi, the little Maxi base game here, the little Maxi mini game, in which we ask the question, oh, I have a Maxi, do you have a called by or like a crossout on Ash to counter my Maxi? And what this is, or this format here, especially in the OCG, what this format is like the Maxi game on steroids, right? So it's not really about making your combos or doing plays. It's about how many hand traps do you have and who has more hand traps. And you can even see this in the side deck here. There are even more hand traps in here. So we have another Ghost Spell, Snow Ogre Rabbit guy, and then 2 Nibiru's and also Bestials, which are cards that you can side in going second to have even more hand traps in here. So even more ability to interrupt your opponent. And this is not even very concerning, but where it gets concerning is with the new deck Tenpai Dragon, which is a going second deck. So obviously going second decks, this is the first thing that is always a bit dangerous, especially in Master Duel, because in a best of 3 format, obviously you can tag stuff in against decks like this. In this case, it would be Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. So this would allow you to destroy the field spell, which is this one here, which is basically a very important point. The field spell protects, correct me if I'm wrong here, not super important at this point, but the field spell protects all the little Tenpai dragons from being targeted or being affected by effects in the main phase, I think, which is quite strong and allows this deck to get the strategy it wants to do through. And this is a going second deck, as I already said, which has the ability in the battle phase to put out, I think, I saw a video yesterday, I think the ability to put out like 36,000 damage with its base combo. The little dragons can attack and then can synchro summon in the battle step, allowing you to go into the bigger dragons, which are these ones here. These are the level 7s, I think, and then they can even tech out in the level 10 here, which can then destroy something. And you have the Trident Dragon here, which is an old card, which we might be able to find this. I think it's Trident Dragon or something. There it is, which is an old card, which when this card is synchro summoned, you can target up to 2 other cards you control, destroy those targets, and if you do, for each destroyed card, this card gains an additional attack during each battle phase this turn. It has 3000, and you will be able to destroy 2 targets when you make the Trident Dragon, which gives you the ability, as already talked about, to attack for in a total 36,000 damage. Obviously enough to kill any opponent, even if your opponent has a Spooky Dogwooded you. So anti-Spooky Dogwood, talking about the Spooky Dogwood, it is here. But this is what the deck wants to do. It basically goes second and then kills you. But here's the concerning part, right? Let's count the amount of non-engine in this deck. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. There are 24 non-engine cards in this deck. I do not think, correct me if I'm wrong here, for those of you playing the game for a longer time period, I have stopped, I think 2005 or something with, or 6 with the Monarch format. I stopped when the extra deck became relevant, but there has never been a deck in which there was so much room for non-engine, and this is a going second deck, mind you. This is the crazy part about it, right? Because obviously having a lot of hand traps and non-engine stuff is nice when you are going second, so this really plays into the overall playstyle of this deck. So you will be very likely to open like 2 or maybe even 3 hand traps or board breakers like the Forbidden Droplet here, to stop your opponent, and then obviously because your opponent wasn't not really able to establish his game plan, you can then just kill him with this combo that is able to put out 36,000 damage in 1 turn. So this is really concerning, and as I already said, not so concerning for the OCG and the TCG, but way more concerning for us in Master Duel, because we don't have a side deck. We can't side against this. And the best hand trap that you can use against this deck is the Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, which is not a hand trap that anyone is ever putting in his main deck. We might be doing this in the future when this deck comes out, because we have to, or they might hit this deck preemptively. It remains to be seen here, but what I want to point you to is the trend to a more hand trap and non-engine format, which means a more interruption heavy format, which means we will be able to play the game less in the future. We can also see this with Snake Eyes. We have already seen this with Snake Eyes in Master Duel. It's more extreme in Master Duel at the moment because we are missing the bonfire here. So when this comes out in the Master Duel, we will replace some non-engine with some engine bonfire here, but we can also count this here. This is not as extreme as in the Tenpai example, but we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 18 non-engine. This is still very, very much non-engine, and this deck can support this, right? And the Tempai deck can also support this crazy amount of non-engine here, which is definitely a problem, as I already said, which is also a bit sad because this basically means that Master Duel has to pre-hit this deck pretty hard, robbing us of the ability to experience what this deck could be in Master Duel, right? So obviously we have going second decks like Sky Strikers, but they have been limited and they are not as strong, so not a big problem. Also Numeron, but everyone playing, or at least this is the experience that I had in the beginning. Whenever I faced a Numeron deck, I was basically always killed by the Numeron deck, which is just not a good experience. It's just not fun. And I think we are steering into a direction that is close to the Numeron killing you on the second turn. It doesn't even have to be this new Tenpai Dragon stuff here. It could also be the Fire King Snake Eye or the Snake Eye deck with all the hand traps that you can fit in here. And obviously, one of the next things we will get is the Fire King stuff, which the good thing, I think, is that the Fire King Snake Eye deck is able to play less non-engine than is, for example, the Snake Eye deck. So we have the big bad guy already in the game. When the Fire King stuff comes, we will have a format with less hand traps, I guess. That's something good. But then we will get the Tenpai Dragon stuff, and then you can see these what were like 23 non-engine cards in here, which is just insane. And then you can see there's even more non-engine here in the side deck. So I'm not quite sure. So I'm not super familiar with the deck, but you might side in even more stuff when you know you're going second. Though then the question remains whether you can even hit your engine there. I think the field spell gets you into everything. I think this quick play spell gets you into everything, and then the pot makes sense. So you can see 6 cards, and I think start off with one of your little guys here that you can then normal summon. But yeah, this is the direction the game is currently moving into, and I think this could be very concerning, especially for Master Duel. But guys, let me know what you think of this. What's your thoughts? What are your opinions on this? Do you think this could be a problem, and how do you think Konami will solve this? For example, we can take a look at, I think, the Voiceless Voice deck, which is a ritual deck already in the TCG as well, is a deck that is way more healthier when it comes to this. Obviously, ritual decks are always like this. They need more engine cards, but we can quickly count. Let me count first before I say something here. We have 3, we have 5, we have 8, we have 10, we have, yeah, we could also count the pots, but they are also consistency, right? 11, 12, so 13 hand traps here, and not counting the pots because they are engine basically. So 13, this is more of a healthy number. I think a deck being able to play around like 12 hand traps is a very, 12 to 15, I would say, is a very healthy number. Everything that goes above that is just crazy. And we could also see this, or can also see this with the deck that we have in Master Duel right now, which obviously is Super Heavy Samurai. Also a deck that was pretty much hit instantly in the TCG because otherwise it would be way too strong. OCG never hit it because of Maxi. It's a combo deck at least, and we have Maxi, so this was able to keep this in check. But you can also see we have 1, we have 4, we have 6, we have 9, 11, 16, and to Nibiru's 18. Okay, but I think this is also a list a bit lower on hand traps, if I'm not incorrect here. Let me count again. We have 7, we have 10, we have 12, we have... Yeah, we have 17, we have 19. So 19 in here. Also a deck very heavy on hand traps, but not as heavy as the Tent by Dragon stuff here. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of this. If you're still here, thanks for being here. If you like my videos, please consider subscribing, hitting the thumbs up and the notification bell so to not miss out on a video, and also support the channel. That would be very nice. I wish you a very, very nice day. Be ready for the drop of the new pack. Oh, so exciting. So such cool stuff in the pack. But no, I'm always happy when they release new stuff here. Have a nice day, guys, and we will see each other in the next one.